What in the world? Oh my goodness, that's annoying.
I can't
What? Oh my goodness, that's loud. I'm gonna take a wild guess where it is. It's right under these cobbles. I knew it.
What is it? I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh my goodness, that's annoying. Oh, okay, one's gone. Oh, a wandering trader. Nice one. I like how you're casually pretending not to know anything about it.
I heard you said something about a wandering trader. Did a trader spawn in for you?
Yeah, a trader's head spawned in for me, just randomly on a jukebox with a.
Oh wow!
Or no box,
like,
no block.
Trader head in this game?
Of course you can.
That's news to me.
Yes. Excellent prank. I like that. That's good. That's good stuff. Oh, hi. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 2 on the Artisan Collective server. I'm super excited. Oh, I missed it. Unbelievable. See, you snooze, you lose when you fish. It's kind of like real life. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm super excited to be able to share this episode with you and the ideas I've got, because today was a big day for me. I actually got some inspiration for a build that I'd like to be able to basically put together during this episode, if at all possible, at least the beginnings of it. But before we get started, I think what I'd like to show you briefly is off camera, I did the very painstaking task of searching for, finding, and transporting 2 villagers from a faraway village to bring them here to get them acquainted with each other. And it seems to be working. They look pretty happy, because basically what's going on here is busy business, and I'm looking forward to be able to using the villagers that are coming out of here. We'll put them into some temporary stalls and hopefully be able to upgrade these tools, which are in dire need. We're still on iron, except for the tools themselves, ladies and gentlemen. Like, we're really basic level stuff here still. I've been busy doing other things and setting up the server, making sure everybody's happy, and trying to do some collaborative stuff, and in between just doing my best to keep up, because there's a lot to do in the early game. I also got some sheep, as you can hear, and that's nice for some food, for some initial wool and things like that, so that's good. Got some trees. Some of them I had to travel for a little further away to be able to get. Still don't have them all, but it's okay, because we really don't need the trees per se as much for what I'm wanting to do here. But one of the things I'm really excited about, if I could just find it again, where'd it go? Ah, do I have it here? Oh, I do have it in my inventory. How about that? Is the new polished tough block from the up-and-coming 1.21 update. We have a similar kind of data pack installed on this server as they do on Hermitcraft, which is to be able to have access to the new blocks. So for example, if I go to the crafting table here and I go copper, oops, I should probably type it in properly. We've got the new copper blocks as well on this server, which is really, really exciting to be able to work with. So I had to go mining for that. Ended up finding a place over here. It's a little bit, I guess it's a little bit out of the way from the main area, but not really. Everything's within just a short distance. Very basic, rudimentary mine that goes, whoops, I'm sorry, way down. So very basic stuff, and all of this is about gathering resources right now, and it's not very interesting to watch on the screen, so I'll save you from that. But the idea I have for this season, and in particular this episode, what I'd like to do after filling in this water here, I don't have enough dirt, if you can believe it. I gotta go mining. I gotta go find it. and it's all around, yes, I know. But yeah, once this is all filled in, we get this cleared out. What I'd like to be able to do, and I will direct your attention to a screenshot right now of Cheyenne Mountain Complex. So this is the U.S. military's underground complex in Colorado. And that's used, or the picture of that is probably the most picturesque, let's say, landscape or scenery that's in a lot of TV shows and movies, and in particular the TV show Stargate SG-1. That's always been really interesting to me, and it's built right into the mountain. The only thing about that is it's not very much of a grand entrance, to be honest. It's just a metal tube that goes deep into the ground eventually. We're not building a bunker per se. What I'd like to do, however, is to be able to build inside, underground, this time, in this season. In past seasons, what we have done is build something outside here in the overworld on the ground. But it's been many, many seasons. In fact, the very first SMP that I joined, the very first season that I joined, I built underground bases. Pretty much, well, I built underground base, but different parts of the base pretty much the whole season. What I'd like to do is do like an upgraded version of that, because I'd like to think I'm a bit of a better builder than what I was back then, which was back in, what, 2010, 2011? So I hope we can put together something here. I'd like to be able to put like a bit of a grander entrance, maybe similar to what the treasury is in Petra, Jordan. You know, that big grand thing that was used in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Not quite the same thing. We don't have any kind of desert type of situation here, but I've got a vision of what I'd like to do. And anyway, the entrance would be quite grand, and it would take you inside of the mountain complex, which would essentially be my starter base. Inside of the base would have an artifact, and that artifact would be kind of the rarity thing. It would be kind of the centerpiece of the initial starter base that I would be having here. And then, of course, around that would have the villagers that will be transported from their temporary stalls to their permanent spot in there. And then, of course, storage and things like that. Maybe even a new entrance to a mine. And because this is a mountain, I'm pretty certain there's probably at least deep dark down there, let alone an ancient city. Who knows? So we have to go and find that as well. So I'm super excited about what we've got planned. I'm actually really inspired about building underground again. I haven't done that in such a long time, so I'm really, really excited about it. So, but first things first, we're going to have to go and gather some resources. I'll try to speed up some of those things on camera. Otherwise, everything's going to be done off of camera to get the resources started so we can actually do something here. This is so exciting. I can't wait to share it with you. Let's get started. 1, 2, 3. All right. So I've just marked out the width of this entire base area, and this is a lot bigger than I thought it would be. So over there I put a granite pillar as well, leading up to this one. So everything in between here, basically, well, I wouldn't say all the way necessarily out to the side, but certainly this area straight across all the way to the pillar there needs to be dug out, basically to the ground level. So there's a little bit to do here. It could be worse, but since we don't have efficiency 5 yet, we don't really have huge amazing tools yet. All we've got are basic tools with a little bit of enchantments. So I think what we'll do is we'll just get started with this, and we'll get started with this very basic shovel here. So all we're doing really is literally digging all of this out of the way. This is not extremely exciting content, but you know what is? Time lapse. Let's go. Okay, we're on finally the last few blocks right now. we have cleared out a gigantic area, and I have to say, I really didn't remember how difficult and painstaking it is to be able to do this without a beacon. But look at this, ladies and gentlemen, we cleared out a really, really big face area here. I would call this generally a terraforming project, but I would say this is a destruction project in practice, at least for now, to be able to fit in the front end of my base. And looking at it now, it looks like a very big area. So this is going to be interesting. But the scale in which I have prepared the front face of my base is going to be quite large. So this is a little bit different than the Cheyenne Mountain Complex kind of approach, and even bigger than what Petra in Jordan would look like as well, because it's pretty much skinny and tall, and that's it. This is going wider. So the plan is, I think, is we're going to start putting in the base area here, and once the initial walls are actually up, I think what I will do is terraform, actually form or reform some of that area to make it a little bit more natural looking. So that's why I left a little bit on each side that's kind of diagonally facing inward, and that's kind of giving that effect of the hidden element of the base, in that when you come down from the hill or the hillside, you're going to see a big area. Obviously, the thing is really large. So once you come right where that post is there, you're going to start seeing bit by bit of what's actually revealing itself to you when you come down here. But as you can see, when you come down here, there's some parts of it that's hidden, and as you approach it, you get a more, let's say, revealed or look, or the look of the base itself starts to be revealed the closer you get to it, and of course the scale of it as well. So what I'm hoping is once the initial foundation is built, or the initial structure is built, I'll start to reform some of these areas to be a bit more natural up here, and pull out the wall a little bit more. So it's kind of like it would be something along this line. I mean, this is just totally rough, but basically pulling out this side a little bit more, which is kind of hiding that corner. Once this is all grown up here, it's kind of hiding the corner over there, and likewise over there. So once you move down from the hillside, you've got this kind of a narrow approach towards a very large and wide gate, if you will. And as you approach it, it reveals itself even more on the sides as you pass by some of these newly terraformed areas. So that's the plan. But I think I'm going to take a small break here. You won't see a break, but I certainly will. This was a huge project just in and of itself, but I'm really, really glad that we've got it ready. So now we can actually get started to actually build the thing. So let's go. All right, there it is with all of the lava. Doesn't that look amazing? I think this is really awesome. If we go over to our shaders and we look at even complementary, now doesn't that look incredible? That is a base entrance. And what I was looking for here is exactly as I was telling before. When you come over the hill coming from Spawn, the shopping district, or pretty much where almost everyone else is living, when they come towards this direction, the effect that this terrain has, together with that base design, is pretty stunning. So here we are at the top. Spawn is just over there where that big tree is, straight up ahead. And as they would be coming this direction, you can't even see it from here, which is great. But then as you start arriving, you start moving towards and approaching and approaching. There it is. And then, boom. That's how I want it to look. Something grand, something amazing that really catches the eye. And especially at nighttime, that's going to look really incredible with the lava. Now, I think what I'm going to do, and this is going to be done probably off camera, is do a little bit more terraforming. Let's just do a little more terraforming. And we'll probably pull in more of this dirt here and pull it back just like I was describing earlier and try to hide this just a little bit more, make this a little bit more natural than just completely cut straight like this. But this is an absolute stunning design. I'm really excited about it. So what's going to happen next is this is just the face of the base. So what I would like to be able to do is continue this, let's say the roof design into the actual mountain itself. And that is something I'm looking forward to. We can kind of close this off into an actual building where it actually is attached to the mountain itself. And as you come up the stairs, which are not completely ready yet, but as you come up the stairs, you would be going into the mountain, into the actual base itself, from this very grandiose design. So this is it. This is what we've got here. I'm really, really excited about this one. I mean, looking at it from all directions, it's just all around pretty grand. I'm not going to lie. It looks really, really impressive. I may tinker with this a little bit, with the fact that we've got so much copper laying around as well. I could be making some of those new copper bulbs, for example, if I take a look here. Oops, not coop, copper. We've got these waxed copper grates. I could be doing something with that. I'm not sure if I'll do anything on the outside, but perhaps inside as you start going in, it starts to change the design a little bit then. I'm not entirely sure yet. I'm still designing that. But here we are. This is the beginning of something amazing. I'm super, super excited about it. I'm not going to lie. All right, so we have a bit of a small task to do now, and that is going to be terraforming the sides here. What we're aiming to do now is to create kind of a unique terrain that is designed to enclose part of the front of the base with a more natural look than what we've got currently now with just this shaved straight wall kind of deal that we've got. I think I'll be going for some cliffs on the edges, like the top edges of these sides here on both sides. We'll try to put some cliffs there. We'll see if we can blend it into the hillside of the mountain, and then down here on each side of the bottom of the mountain, we'll kind of gradually climb up into the side as well and see if we can't do something with these straight walls and make them a bit more natural looking. So let's just get started with this, and we'll see how it goes. I'll get you a little bit of a start here. First of all, I think we should probably come on this bed and get a good before look before we can switch it to the after look. But before we get started, I think we should start right down here and just start filling in some of these things. Terraforming is one of those things that I've always been literally terrified to do because there's so many people who are so gifted in doing this kind of stuff. Fwit, for example, is one of the better terraformers that I've seen. Scar is also amazing. B-Dubs obviously as well. So I'm in company that is much more, let's say, skilled at this than I am. But the way I look at terraforming, and it's one of those things that I actually still really enjoy doing despite not being, or at least perceived to not be very good at it, is I like to take this as an iterative process. The same thing as making the base right now. Like, this looks amazing, but this is a first pass. This is not the finished product yet. And it's the same thing with the terraforming. I try to do this in an iterative process, which means essentially you go through a first pass, a second pass, and however many passes until you are satisfied with the end result. This is basically, this is what we're, what's going on here? This is basically the approach that we're going to take with this terraforming as well. And you just add a bit, and then you come back and take a look at how it's starting to look. It's not very natural looking because it's a bit too, let's say, too straight. So So some of this should probably come out a little bit more, like so, and then start. That's a bit far. It's getting a bit too close to the walls, so I would prefer that it actually starts to move in. Something like that. And all we're doing here is just taking one bit at a time and trying to form, just like clay, a picture that you have in your mind as to what you want this to look like. And you just keep adding blocks until it starts to get to a point where this is starting to look like what you have as a vision, either on paper or in your mind or whatever. For me, it's important. Let's see if we look a little bit further back. You don't really see it, but as you go closer to this, this is supposed to be more or less starting to show here now. So what we'll start to do actually is see if we don't have any stone on us, but that's okay. We'll just start building up a little bit here. Start building up on the walls. A little bit of dirt. We'll probably need some cobble and some stone to mix in here, but just to get us started, we don't want to go too high up. But just little bits here and there until we can formulate a shape that we're kind of happy with. Well, that's not very nice, that one there, but it is starting to build up nicely, bit by bit. It's interesting with blocks because you really have to put quite a bit down to see if it's going in the right direction. Let's take a look here. A little bit too much there. We'll leave that like so, and we'll jump back and take a look. So it's this back and forth, back and forth. So this is the process that I'm going to be going through right now. I think what I'll do is do most of this off camera. This isn't too exciting probably for you, but we'll come back in a moment and see what the progress is like and see if what I just said actually starts to make sense in reality when you start building this up. So we'll see you in a moment. All right, so we've done the first pass on the first side of the wall, at least the left side of the wall here. And as you can see, this isn't exactly the curvy kind of architecture that you see. Architecture. Architecture. What? The curvy nature of the block world that is Minecraft. It isn't exactly the same as that. But what I've done here is to try to emulate a place that you can actually, you know, kind of walk. I'll probably skim back that little bit of dirt that you see there to make it a little bit more round and rugged. And over here, I'm trying to emulate a kind of a overlapping cliff side, if you will, with stone and cobble and gravel. Those were the main blocks that were being used here. Unfortunately, my secret block of texture, that being coral, I have not yet gone out to look for, but I'll probably mix that in and texture it a little bit more later. But this is kind of what I'm looking for. This still looks a lot better than that side, that's for sure. But if you think about it, coming from this section here, like coming down from spawn, for example, and seeing that looks a little bit better to have this kind of a, let's say, a rocky face that's kind of popping out from the side a little bit, or protruding from the side. I still would like to do a little bit more with the ground here, this grass and dirt, and try to fill in at least this bottom layer a little bit more. But generally speaking, this isn't too bad for a first pass. So that's one side done, and boy, that took a long time. I'm really rusty at this, I'm not gonna lie, but I really want this to look right, because that looks better than that's for sure. So let's continue. Okay, so we got the second side done now, and it's looking a little bit different than the other side, as it should. Kind of looks a little bit out of place considering everywhere else is all dirt. I may change that up over time, certainly not today, but I may mix in a little bit more rock and whatnot to get in here, or stone, I should say. But in doing this, I actually came up with a bit of an idea to add yet more time to this, and more time to this particular episode. But I'm kind of liking, I mean, it takes a little bit of time to kind of get used to that design, and it looks funny because the wall of the base itself is not integrated with the mountain at the back yet. But I will probably do that off camera so that you can see that next time. But this side here is interesting because this one was the one that was bothering me the most in comparison to this one. This one looks a little bit more, let's say, Minecrafty, if you will. This side here is definitely a little bit different. And what I got to thinking about is, what if we have the element of fire, or lava in this particular case? What if we would add the element of water? And I was thinking, if we look at the mountain range here, there's really beautiful waterfalls that are coming down from really high up. But what if we would have water come from this part of the mountain here? I'll probably fill in this space, or at least partially fill it in somewhat here, and have the water come from here and flowing its way down into this part that I was wanting to take out anyway. You remember I was talking about slicing a bit of this out. So if I would kind of direct the water this way, and it would flow down into this direction here, into the area that I need to take out, and put the water down here, so it would cause a bit of a waterfall and into a little bit of a pond. So all of this that I've actually built up, I'll be shaving away into a bit of a pond. And I think that will look really, really nice when coming into this side. You'll actually get a little bit more color than just the stone and the tuff and lava. You'll actually have a bit of blue on the side as well. So I kind of like that idea. So I think we're going to do that right now. All right, so here we go. We've got the waterfall here now in place. Obviously, there's got to be a fair bit of terraforming still here at the bottom. Hello, Smooth. And this is going to be changing out from dirt into cobble and whatnot here. And because this is a wet area, vapor is spraying from the waterfall itself. This obviously is going to be quite green as is, but this gives us an excuse to be able to add yet another texture in here, which would be more or less mossy cobble and mossy stone and these kind of blocks. Additionally, we'll be able to add some leaves and maybe some vines and other trees, that kind of thing that's kind of around this side. So we'll look at this side, and clearly the left side is looking quite nice in comparison to the right side, which is a bit more bare and normal, but that's okay. That's okay. We want to have a little bit of variation. But what I did with this waterfall was basically make a artificial source in here, or let's say some sort of a spring that ends up into a pool that flows out into a little bit of a river. There's my little infinite water source. And it comes all the way down the mountain and into this beautiful waterfall. I think this is going to look quite nice off camera. Afterwards, for episode 3, I'm going to really spice this place up. And when you come back for episode 3, the front side of this base is going to look a lot different. We're going to get ourselves ready and sort of, let's say, integrated with the mountain. This is my desire, at least, is to be able to connect this wall and this roof into the mountain, and we'll reform the mountain around the building and mix in a little bit of this rocky terrain that we started with on the side that kind of looks a little bit out of place at the moment now, but we'll kind of sparkle that in a little bit here into this side as we cover the back end of the base, so that we can actually go into the base here. But ladies and gentlemen, I think that's all I've got for today. There's a lot more to be able to show and do, but I gotta save something for next episode too, to be fair. I really enjoyed making this for you. This was a very, very fun and challenging episode. This base design was really fun to be able to make. I made it in creative, and it just kind of morphed from the original design that I had inspiration from, and it just became something completely different of my own now. So I'm really, really proud of it. I can't wait to show you the next part of it as well. So thank you so much for joining. I think it's time to go back to fishing. I need some... Where's my fishing rod? I think it's time to go back and get back to the basics and just enjoy. You know, just enjoy life once again. After this very, very difficult episode, it was a lot of fun to make, but boy, it was a lot of work too. So it's time for some fishing. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. You have a fantastic day, and we'll see you in episode 3. Bye.